welcome back to my channel. My name is Tammy Lawson and welcome back. So today I'm going to be giving you guys tips on everything you need to know before when moving to a new state. If you're somebody that is interested in leaving your hometown for where you at, but you're scared to move by yourself, you don't know what action to take. I currently live in Dallas, Texas right now, but I moved from Minnesota and I moved here by myself. And I'm just gonna be giving you guys my experience and what I did before I moved. So first thing first, so this is what happened. This is what I did when I was moving. So first of all, why did I decide? Reason why I moved was because I just wanted a different scenery. I wanted to get away from my old life and get away from and just be around people that was doing the exact same thing that I wanted to do, and which was like modeling and just people that were just into it. And I'm not saying there's not people in Minnesota, but I just feel like I had to like revamp myself. I just had to change everything. So I just decided to move. And honestly, Dallas was my last place on my list when I was moving. So the reason why I ended up going with Dallas was because like at that time I had my ex-boyfriend was living here, and we kind of knew each other. Like we were like childhood friends. We wasn't childhood friends, but we all grew up together, stuff like that. But we all grew up together, and yeah. So I'm like, I felt comfortable that I knew at least one person here, so I wouldn't be like bored or anything like that. So when you're deciding to move to a state, just make sure that at least you know like one person, even if they're not like your best friend or anything. Just make sure you know at least like one person, so you can have somebody to explain things to you. I decided, okay, I'll move to Dallas. I actually wanted to go to LA first, but like LA is super expensive and I didn't have the money at that time. I didn't have the money to move to LA. And I don't know nobody that was living in LA. Actually, I knew one person, but it was just like I had to like weigh my choices of what what would be a great idea for me. And that's why I ended up going with Dallas, because it's not expensive. You can literally buy a house over here. Like it's super affordable, and there's a lot of different things to do here. So when I decided that Dallas was where I'm gonna go, where I'm gonna move at, I started taking it because at that time I was in school in Minnesota. I was on campus and I was also working. So I got another job. So I had like 3 jobs, guys. I had like 3 whole jobs, working and just saving up. I'm telling you, I was so stingy at that time because I was not going out with my friends. And when I was going out, it was either like a guy was going to pay for us or something like that, but I was not going out to spend my money. Basically what it was, I was just like saving up my money at that time. And that was like around, because I moved here in 2016. I moved here to Dallas in 2016 or 2019. So like at that time I saved for a whole year. I picked a date. One thing, when you're moving, you have to like pick out a state that you want to move at. And then you have to pick a date. You have to set a date for yourself. You can just be like, oh, I'm gonna move. You gotta pick a date. That's when you really know you're gonna do it. For me, my date that I was gonna move, because at that time I had a college roommate, and our lease was about to be over, and me and her was not in good terms, and I was definitely not gonna move with her again. So I just decided that okay, I don't want to move to a new apartment and live in Minnesota. I was living in St. Cloud, Minnesota, girl. If you ever been to St. Cloud, Minnesota, it's basically like a village. Like there's only college student, and there's like all we do is smoke weed, smoke hookah, and have sex. Basically what it was. That's what it was, honestly, like no joke. So yeah, I just wanted different things. So when I decided, so I saved a lot of my money on that whole year I really saved. I had like 3 jobs and I was going to school. At that time I was doing like PCA jobs, like healthcare jobs. So sometimes I would sleep at the house. Like I would, is it PCA? Yeah. Because most of those jobs in Minnesota pay really good. So I was doing this kind of job. I was not even thinking about like makeup or anything at that time. So yeah, so those are the kind of jobs I was doing, and I was just like, just working my ass off, working. Like, girl, if I tell you I was working. I saved. Honestly, I did cheat it a little bit. So since I was in school, I just decided. I told myself that I did not ever want to like. I didn't want to take like student loan out to move, but I ended up doing that because it was so hard on me. I was going to school while trying to work and save, and I had my bills to pay. So it was like, if I was gonna move to a new state, I need about at least 10,000. I need a little bit like 5 months rent to save for the new place I'm moving to. So I end up taking like student loan. Like, I would recommend you not to do that if you can save enough money for yourself. You don't need to take student loan because like I'm still paying mine off right now. I end up taking extra student loan out just for me to move. It was a good idea, but also I felt like I really could have just like saved my actual money. At that time, I was also traveling a lot to Dallas so I can get comfortable with the place. Just hanging out here and, just hanging out, partying a lot, liking Dallas. So I was using a lot of my money that I was saving because I was traveling a lot as well. And then, so that's why I really had to take the student loan out. But if I would have just not been traveling too much, I would have saved a lot of money. But I just had to take student loan out because at that time I really needed the money if I was going to move to a new state. But so everything went well. I ended up driving because I had my car and I didn't want to. I had option of towing my car to a new state, but I didn't want to do that. It's like the price started from like 500 and up just to tow your car. I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna do that. So the guy I was seeing at that time came up with the idea. He said he will come down to Minnesota because he lived in Minnesota. He have his family and friends in Minnesota. So he said he would come down to Minnesota and then we would drive together. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. Yeah. And honestly, I was really not into that guy like that. Like, I mean, I liked him, but I just felt like something about him was a little bit fishy. Even though we grew up together, but still, like, I'm just like, whatever. But anyways, it ended up not working out. That's a whole nother story, sis. But anyways, yeah. So like, So I ended up driving out here to Dallas. And then when I was coming here, because like he gave me the option, he was like, the guy I was seeing at that time was like, oh, you can stay with me. We can roommate, we can be together. He was like, we can roommate. I'm like, I'm about to roommate with a guy. If I'm gonna live with a guy, you're gonna be paying the rent. Boo boo. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna live with no dude. I don't wanna play house with you. No. So I ended up not staying with him. I didn't take his option of staying with him because I just know like his personality, that he's like a flip. He does that kind of thing. So what I did was, there was a friend of a friend that had like a room in her house that she was leasing. So I ended up taking that room and just paying the girl about like $500 a month just to stay in her room. So that was where I was gonna live. So when I came to Dallas, I already had somewhere to stay. And then when I was coming back to also Dallas and stuff like that, I was going to job interviews. I applied to different jobs, and I also started applying to lots of like nursing jobs. But it's like my mom always wanted me to be a nurse, So I was doing a little bit of that too, but that's not my passion in life. So I told myself, I don't want to do that. I don't want to move to a new state and do the same exact thing I was doing. So what I end up doing is start applying to different jobs, like pushing myself out of my comfort zone. Because at that time when I moved there, I had just turned like 22. So I was still a little bit young. So yeah, I just turned 22. So I challenged myself. I told myself when I moved to a new state, I'm not gonna be doing the same thing I was doing. So yeah, so that's one tip you guys really should take. Like if you move to a new state, like you really have to like just change everything. I won't say necessarily change everything about yourself. Just become the person and become the woman or man that you always wanted to be, and don't do the same old thing. That's the main reason I decided to move to like I also like was definitely just to like change me. I was just so tired of doing the same thing, going to the same parties, going to the same seeing the same people, same drama all the time. It was like nothing different. It's like same old things, and that is just not me. That's not me. I like to be around people and like to be in the scenery where I can think, where I can create, where I can be myself, where I feel like I can just become whoever I want to be. And I just felt like Minnesota was not the place for me. When I moved here, I got a job when I started working at the Galleria and stuff like that. And at that time, I was doing that's when I really got involved in doing makeup and stuff like that. So I was really involved in like doing makeup. I really liked it. One mistake that I made when I moved there, all the money that I saved, I started blowing it out with going out. Like, cause I just got so like Dallas. I think about Dallas, the lifestyle, it's kind of like LA. The lifestyle over here would suck you. Like going out, because I'm from a small, like in Minnesota, the clubs are not open like during weekdays. They're not open on Tuesday, they're not open on Wednesday. Over here, the clubs are open every single day. So like that lifestyle was just like, wow. I was so shocked. So I made some few friends with the girls that I was working with, and we would go out all the time. Like we were just like having the best time of our life. I was going out, partying, spending all my money when I moved here. So guys, don't do what I did. Do not spend all your money when you move here. Cause my dumbass. I mean, at that time I was, like I said, I was 22, so I just wanted to party because I didn't really party a lot when I was in Minnesota. I just really wanted to party and live my best life and be cute and stuff like that. And then that first year when I moved here to Dallas, that's kind of honestly like how I blow up on social media, and I become like a beauty influencer. Like the thing about the internet is so crazy. I love the internet. You can go from being like a complete nobody, or somebody that just like doesn't exist, to somebody that's up, to somebody that just people look up to, and it's just so crazy. And I just like really appreciate that I even got that people even see me as this person that they can look up to, and I really appreciate that. Because like growing up, I was really shy. I was always like the one that was like that wanted to make friends, but it's like people never didn't like me. I suck at communicating with people. I just like to be alone and stuff like that. So I never really go out there. It's crazy. I just need to like, I was just like this person that never really partied or never did anything. I was really, really shy. And I always never felt pretty. But it's like when I moved here, I just had that power back. It's like you can be whoever you want to be. That's the main thing I would ever tell anybody. Like if you want to change yourself, if you want to change your life, if you want to become this person, if you want to be the person you're meant to be, like you either gotta like stop hanging out with the people you're hanging out with in your same town and just move a little bit, or you gotta move you gotta move and leave all those people, because like people don't really know your worth until you're not there. So yeah guys, lashes is on. Let's finish this story. So I'm just gonna be using the Lock-It by Fenty primer. What you should expect moving to a new state, especially if you don't know a lot of people. Get a job. You're definitely probably gonna be making friends. The people you're gonna be hanging out with mainly are people that you work with. Everybody, like the things about moving to a new town, like everybody they have their own group, their clique and stuff like that. So everybody over here in Texas are really cliquey. They have their own they've been had their friends that they grew up with, like since they were kids and stuff like that. So like it's definitely like the whole year that I lived here, I would say I finally made a friend, but that's just how it is. So when you move, just expect to be alone, especially on holidays, unless you're going back home to go visit your family and stuff. But you're gonna be alone on holidays. It's gonna be the worst freaking time of your life. One of the great benefit of moving to a new town or just getting and stepping out of your comfort zone and stuff like that is like you learn so much. There's so much to know. There's so much that I felt like, wow. Like I felt like if I didn't move, I would have been like this close-minded person, like not trying to do anything. But moving really like opened my eyes. Moving opened my eyes a lot, guys. Like I know a lot now. I feel like I learned from my experience, and moving to a new state really did help me with that. So don't be afraid to move, guys. There's nothing wrong. Just do your research to whatever state you're moving to. Just do your research or whatever state you want to move to, and yeah, go from there. If you really feel like you want to move, don't hesitate. Like you can do it, even if you don't know nobody and you're just trying to you just have to do it. You just have to go for it, you know? Like I feel like for me it was even though it was scary, but even though it was like really, really scary for me, I'm like, damn, I'm gonna move to a new state. I don't know nobody. I'm gonna be alone. I'm not gonna have no friends. And I still don't have that much friends right now. But I just learned how to be alone and how to have fun on my own. I feel like that's why it's not such a bad thing for me. Like because I know how to have fun on my own. I know how to like cope with being alone now. At first I used to be so afraid to be alone that I just wanted to be around people all the time, but like I passed that stage in my life when I no longer feel like I need to be surrounded by lots of people to feel like I'm not alone. And there is some times when I just like wish I had my family, because my families are still in Minnesota, you know, I still have family. But just sometimes going back home to also help with just visiting and being like, hey. But honestly, every time I go back home, I realize exactly why I left. So it's always good, like when you lived in a new state, just go back home and then you realize exactly why you left. Because it's like, damn. You can always be whoever you want to be without moving. But I feel like moving does really help with everything though, like just everything. Life, and I feel like I would have never been this person if I would have stayed in my hometown. I would have never been this bold person, outspoken, somebody that just stand up for what she believed in. I would not have been that person because it's like things would have just been holding me back. And I'm the type of person, like, I'm just like, I don't like being afraid of anything. Like, being afraid or being scared to do things really, I just hate that. I just hate that feeling, and so I just had to change. I know this story is all over the place, guys, but I hope you learned something from it. Don't be afraid to move, guys. Like, moving can be a really good thing and it can be a really bad thing. It just depends on you. So I'm just gonna bronze up with this. Like, since I moved, honestly, I've been good. Like I told you, like I've been really good. Um, I'm not really afraid to be by myself. I'm not really like care about having like a lot of friends and stuff like that. I'm just focused on like my career. So moving for me was a really great thing. I didn't lose anything. I still see my family. I go back home all the time to go visit my cousins and stuff like that. But yeah, moving was a really good thing for me, and it can be for you too. But you just have to make that. You just have to make that decision on your own if this is exactly what you want. And when you move, you really cannot rely on other people. Like, even though you have like even though you know one person, you really have to be independent. You cannot rely on nobody. You can't say, "Oh, I'm gonna move here, and then my friend that is in that state is gonna do this for me. I'm gonna be staying with her. She's gonna, you can't rely on nobody. You have to be independent. You have to save your own money. You have to have your own car. You have to know how you have to pay your own rent. You have to save up for all that. You got to think about, are you going to be driving? Are you going to be flying? You got to think about all that, because you cannot come to a new state thinking that because thinking that you're going to have people to just rely on. Sometimes it's going to be sad, it's going to be depressing, you're going to be missing home, you're going to want to go back, but you got to think about exactly why you moved in the first place. You really got to think about that. You got to be a hustler.